Greetings, Benjamin J. from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, what you're looking at, of course, is a decrepit piece of Marx tin litho that is absolutely beyond help. Now, you can de-rust this with alcohol or with vinegar, but there's nothing you can do to make this look good again. It is eaten alive with rust. The rust has actually started to damage the steel, as you see. It's fuzzy. It's just absolutely beyond help. But is there a way to actually save this to make it usable? And of course, our old friend, textured paint. Rustoleum textured paint. This is about, I don't know, $4 a can, something like that. And you'd be surprised, in just a few seconds, you can turn a decrepit piece of old, useless rolling stock into something that is at least usable. Now, I haven't done anything to this thing. I pulled it out of the bottom of the layout, and I'm just going to give it a quick spray with this paint so you can see what's possible. So, without further ado, we spray it, as you see, and we're going to give it a light mist. Just a light mist, as you see. Just like that. I'm just going to do this one side so you can see the process. And we'll let that set for, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And then we'll go ahead and spray it. And you'd be surprised, in just a matter of a few seconds, you can take this worthless piece of junk and at least turn it into a usable piece of rolling stock that doesn't look bad. As you see, this thing is just absolutely useless. It's just covered in rust. It's been abused. This is something I got from eBay. It had been stored in a damp basement for probably as long as I've been alive. And it's just beyond saving. There's nothing you can do to it. So in this case, it just went under the layout table, and I snagged the chassis with the wheels and very likely used it for something else. But I just wanted to show you how simple it is to actually make something out of this useless piece of rusted tin litho. So that's been setting for, I don't know, probably 15, 20 seconds. I turned the heat up in the train room. I've been doing a bit of painting. Anyway, I've got it about 80 degrees in here, and temperature makes a tremendous difference, as does ambient humidity. So anyway, we'll see how this is going to turn out. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and paint this piece of tin litho. Now, this is textured paint, and you'd be surprised how quickly it will disguise all of this damage. It's never going to be perfect, but it will at least be runnable, and it won't look terrible, as you see. So I'm just going to do this one side. So just a bit of spray paint, and then you just let this thing set. All the gloss will go away. Now, it is textured paint, so like I said, it's going to hide 90% of all the damage that was on this piece of tin litho. So I'll just let this set. I'll do a follow-up video. You can see I missed a big spot right there. The problem with painting indoors is you can't see anything. The best way to do this, of course, is outside. But outside right now is 26 degrees, so you have no choice. You've got to do it indoors. So anyway, just a quick spray of this textured paint, and you can see it already looks 1,000% better. It's already runnable, whereas before it just looked absolutely atrocious. It was terrible. And like I said, the steel was all fuzzy and covered with rust. And the nice thing about Rustoleum paint is, first of all, it prevents rust. Secondly, this is textured paint, so it really hides all the damage to the steel. And as you see, it already looks 1,000% better. Now, when this paint is dry, it'll lose all this gloss, of course, and it'll actually be a usable car. It's simple. It's really easy to do it. It only takes a minute, and you can take some really, really terrible stuff and spray it with this textured paint and at least make it presentable. You know, from a foot away, no one would know this was a rusted piece of reject tin litho that's been sitting under the layout table for the last, who knows, 6 months, year, something like that. And a lot of the stuff you'll get on eBay, and this came with a locomotive that I bought. And it was so rusted it was beyond saving. So what do you do with it? In this case, I usually throw it under the layout table and use it for sheet metal. If I need a piece of metal, I can cut it out of the this piece of tinder. But as you see, it's already turning into something that is usable. And that paint is drying right before your eyes. And you can see there's already a tremendous difference in what this thing looks like. And when this is completely dry and painted, it gives you a usable tinder. And from a foot away, no one would ever know this was damaged. You lose the logo, yes, no doubt. You could always replace it, but is it worth it? No, it isn't. But in this case, you can take a useless, rusted piece of relic and spray it, and in 10 minutes, you can have this thing looking more than respectable. As you can see, it's already changing, like I said, just before your eyes as this paint begins to dry. It hides all the rust. It covers all the damage from the rust itself on the steel. And you spend a few minutes spraying each side and let this paint dry, and you will have a usable tinder. Anyway, it's really, really simple to do this. I'm doing this on the floor on top of a bucket with a piece of newspaper over it. As you see, it's already changed 1,000%. And so when this is completely painted and dry, you put it back on a chassis, you have a usable tinder. Far from perfect, but it's not terrible anymore. And as you see, all the lines are emerging nice and straight. It's covered all the rust and the damage from the rust to the steel. And in a few minutes, you can turn this into a usable tinder, and you've lost nothing. It only takes a minute to do it. And spend some time, of course. I didn't straighten out any of the steel. This thing was just absolutely beat to death. I just wanted to do a demonstration of how easily and quickly this textured paint hides the damage on these old tin litho cars. It only takes a minute to do this. So I'll do the other side. I'll let it dry. I'll do a follow-up. Maybe I'll put it on a chassis. You can see it on the rail. It makes a tremendous difference. I mean, this thing was junk, absolutely junk. As you see, it already looks 1,000% better, and when this is finished, no one would ever know that this was just a rusted relic tin litho car. So anyway, I'll do a follow-up video when it's painted. I'll put it on a chassis, run it around so you can see it. But I just wanted to do a quick video on how effective this textured paint is, Rustoleum textured paint. It's inexpensive, it's simple to do, and it hides a lot of damage on these old tin litho cars. As you can already see, it took, what, 20 seconds to do this? Something like that? So anyway, I'll do a quick follow-up video after I've painted this and it's dried. I'll put it on a chassis and throw it on the layout so you can see it. But I just wanted to do a quick video on a really simple way to save some of these old, deplorable condition tin litho cars. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINS@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.